And I think, and I hope, and I believe that people will have seen and come to appreciate that it's been really nothing more than trying to provide a platform for honest, authentic conversation to take place to further this industry. That's where we started, that's where we continued, and that's where we are today, and that's really how we hope to go forward. CanEx Jamaica would love to see and wants to see and is working towards ensuring that Jamaica sits with respect in the epicenter of this industry. So it's not just a cultural, historical, iconic association with the plant, but it really sits as a place where you can, embrace and own that niche that it has. It cannot be replicated anywhere else in the world that associates with the industry. That's number one. And number two, and very, very important, I think while we embrace the, all the global investments and all the different opportunities that present themselves, we also have to own the fact that being this close to the equator, that's really one of the key points that the Caribbean has as a point of differentiation, and we can't let that go. We have to also understand that as smaller countries, we don't have huge landmass to have these massive production outfits, and so as time goes on, we have to understand what that niche is and really drill down and make sure that Jamaica is leveraging its opportunity, and the Caribbean is leveraging its opportunity to really make its mark on this industry and hold its own in a way that, and this is truly what drives me with this, I see this industry as having the potential to completely shift the economic challenges and some of the social ailments that have been, real markings of my upbringing in the Caribbean. That's been my experience. And I think it has the opportunity to do that. And so for those folks who are unsure and are looking at the social stigmas, what I would love for them to do is come to CanEx, obviously, but more so is to open their minds and learn and listen at some of the people who have gone from traditional backgrounds to where they understand the power of this plant and the medicine that it can provide. So that's our mission. That's really what we're working towards. And we hope that people in Jamaica will come along with the journey for us as we bring all these international players into Jamaica. And they love Jamaica, they want to see progress in Jamaica, but what they are is on a mission, on a global mission to be successful. And I think Jamaica has a real opportunity to be a part of that journey, and that's what at CanEx we want to see happen. So I thank you for coming today. I thank you for being part of this journey. And I think you'll be very pleased at the kind of talent that we have coming to our conference. What I'd like to do now is introduce Dr. Lorenzo Gordon. He is a member of the MCU, which is the Medicinal Cannabis Unit here in Jamaica. He's also the Vice Dean of the Caribbean School of Medical Sciences and a clinical research specialist. And what I know him for and respect him for is his advocacy of cannabis as a medicine. He's extremely passionate about its medicinal properties and how those should be respected and observed. And I'd like to welcome, without further ado, Dr. Gordon to come forward and share a couple words, if you will.
CanEx is very powerful. CanEx is an important vehicle, as is to really highlight the importance of Jamaica in the ganja industry. And Jamaica, we should understand, has an important role to play in the new revelation of this industry. And it's very important to note that one of the most significant medical study was done here in Jamaica in 1975 and was published widely, and it was the first medical anthropological study of ganja, the Jamaican case study. And this book, those of us who have read it and those who have not read it yet, it would be very interesting for you to really look at some of the very positive chronic use of cannabis in some of our communities here in Jamaica in the past, and how the community galvanize in terms of the health, wellness, and social issue of cannabis. So it's also important to note that maybe one of our modern medicinal derivative came from one of our eminent Professor Manly West, who developed the cannabis. And it's very important to note that is that product that really looked at the use of cannabis in a modern setting, in a more investigative way. But further, we should note that one of our eminent scientists who would be present at CanEx in the form of Professor John Hall, who at one of our eminent hospitals here in Jamaica, in the 1970s, he realized an important effect of cannabis in lowering blood sugar. And right on the ward at the Kingston Public Hospital, he was able to demonstrate how cannabis, the derived product, was able to lower blood sugar. It was at that time, it was noted he was the first Caribbean person to have presented to the 94th sitting on the Congress of US on drug addiction, in which he was able to demonstrate and show his findings. It had woken up the world at that time, in which he traveled right across the globe, showing his portion that he had derived and how the effect of the cannabis that was used in Jamaica could lower blood sugar. And I'm sure in the future, this is going to be something to look out for. But these are some of the attributes and the significance and contribution of Jamaica. Mind you, we got some setback, but it's very important to note that in the past couple of years, the organization of our groups, universities, and private enterprises such as the Zimmerman Company and others have come together and really taken over and making sure that Jamaica now stands in the light in which originally we should have been, and guide somewhat this important industry in going forward. It is important that some of our scientists now, following the footsteps of Professor Manly West and Professor John Hall, we are currently working on many clinical studies on cannabis. We have completed at least one study, which I'm not able to tell you about the results right now, and we are currently doing 2 more, and 3 more have been submitted. And soon we should have a bank of at least some 10 clinical studies. And this is very important. Why this is important? If we're going to drive this industry forward to the world, to be able to look at the importance and the acceptance of cannabis as a medicine, we have to produce evidence. Evidence is very important, and evidence needs to be shown in the next meeting in November in Geneva, in which they are going to look at THC as medicine and the other cannabis-derived substances in order to really put a platform, a pathway in which those of us who are in industry and those of us who want to invest in industry should be able to have their money be able to be moved across boundaries and borders. And it's very important that we sign that that kind of affirmation that this is medicine and it should be allowed. It must be noted because of works and interests of scientists that in June of this year, WHO has really recommended to United Nations, and this letter will be shared with you in due course, in which CBD was suggested to the UN to be downgraded from the total list of controlled substances to be on a list that doesn't need to be controlled at all and should be available so that all persons should be able to use CBD as an anti-inflammatory, an anti-analgesics, and so forth. So it is very important to note that there are movements in the industry and there are scientists and others who are working for you all to ensure that this industry continue to grow and you can be proud of it. And those of us who want to invest, whether it's with science or your capital, it's going to be sure up, and then you're going to be proud and you will feel good in going forward. So I would say those of us who are here today and those of us who will be attending CanEx, it shows that we believe in this industry. We realize this industry is not new. It is some 5,000 years ago. Our forefathers have believed in it. They have really been using some of the same things that we are thinking of using today. They looked at it for pain, for menstrual cramp, for cancer. All of this is 5,000 years ago. Our forefathers have used it in the land of India and China. And so in going forward, we are just ensuring that this belief and this discovery continue to grow. So let us just support this industry as we go forward and grow in unity and in strength. Thanks.
And an important part of all of this, of course, is our sponsors, the companies that come together and make CanEx happen. And so I want to say a little special thank you to them and mention them here. They're Zimmer & Company, Recipio, Institute for Democracy 21, Global Canna Labs, Lenitive Labs, Jamaica Medical Cannabis Collective, Ocean Style, LGC Capital, Herbs Jamaica, FIC Global Advisors, Dragonfly, Marijuana Business Daily, News Talk 93 FM, Canna Investor Magazine, CannaBroadcasting.com, and The Business Year. But what we're very proud of, again, with CanEx is the caliber of speakers that we've been able to attract this year. We have embarked on a journey which, as I said, started off with how do we help to promote the Jamaican conversation, the industry here in Jamaica. And in this year, what we decided to do was to pivot a little bit. The players in Jamaica know each other, and we wanted to ensure that Jamaica on a global level was seen as a place to come to and converge. So we could have networking, we could have business exchanges, we could have folks from all over the globe come here and get involved in industry. So we went out, we got people from Colombia, Mexico, we went to Israel, Czech Republic, the UK, all throughout the Caribbean. We have probably over 20 countries that are going to be represented at CanEx this year. We're expecting about 12 to 1,500 attendees between our expo and our conference. And we will have about 50 different speakers, different experts from across the globe. And I'm not here to take credit for that. I'm here to say that I think that shows the power of Jamaica as a brand and the importance that Jamaica has and can hold in this global industry. Getting someone like Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, and having the opportunity to speak with him and share what our vision was for this conference here in Jamaica, what was happening in Jamaica, and have him embrace that vision and want to be a part of coming to Jamaica. And he wants to speak of what's going on in Mexico. But this is a vehicle for him. He sees the importance of this industry for this entire hemisphere. And he wants to come to this platform and use that to speak out to the world. Having a gentleman like Bruce Linton, as we all know, the CEO of Canopy Growth, market cap of $13, $14 billion. You know, cannabis, as we know, is not a little game anymore. It's a very significant industry with huge opportunities. And so it's going to be very interesting to have him come down from Canada and talk to what Canopy's growth model has been and what they envision for the future. Montel Williams, you know, very recognized personality, but what people don't know is he's been battling multiple sclerosis for 20-odd years, and medicinal cannabis is his solution. That's what he's used to have a productive and thriving life and manage his disease. He also is the founder of Lenitive Labs, which produces CBD and THC and CBD products. So he's going to come down here and speak as well. So we're proud of these folks. And in addition, it's not just the high-level folks that we may recognize, but having someone like Dr. Luma Hannes from Israel. You know, he was with Dr. Meshulam. Those are the folks who discovered CBD in the first place. You know, anyone with a true appreciation for medicine and science, you know, he is on that level of the real celebrity, the real but below the surface, proverbial rocket science-esque type of individual. So for us, it's a great privilege, a great honor to have folks like that coming to CanEx to share what they know with the world. And we embrace, you know, our industry players coming to be a part of that conversation, to build the bridges that are going to take them forward into the future. And so without further ado, I want to invite Tushura Gibbs, who's the CEO of Zimmer & Company. They're our title sponsor this year. And you know, I think it really encapsulates what I think is the strength of CanEx, which is to provide information through experts in the field to folks who are not necessarily in the industry, to learn about it, to pursue relationships, and then forge opportunities for themselves. So, you know, I'm glad, of course, they've come on in that capacity, so thank you for that, sure. But I'd like her to tell her story so you understand that, you know, in this short span of time, how quickly this industry is moving and the kind of functionality and kind of opportunities that CanEx and some of the people that attended can provide.
You know, I'm quite delighted to be here this afternoon, and even more excited to be here in this capacity as title sponsor of CanEx Jamaica 2018. If I should go back to 2016, the first year of CanEx, when I went there as one who was curious about the industry, there was a lot in the press, there was a lot of talk globally, and I was really curious to know what this industry was about and what benefits Jamaica could derive from it. And so I went in and I learned a lot. I went back 2017 as one who was more educated about the industry, but also I wore a different cap then because I was reading about the impact of the cannabis industry on the electricity grid in Colorado and California, and I was in the energy sector at the time. And so I needed to understand what impact it would have on Jamaica's energy sector. But while I was at CanEx 2017, there was lots and lots of talk in the room about the growing of cannabis and who's growing it and who's not supposed to be growing it. And it was just lots and lots of chatter about growing. And I sat there and I asked myself, when we grow all this ganja, what are we going to do with it? And then there was a presentation by the Ministry of Health, and it spoke about registering products in Jamaica, the process, step by step, how to get it done, and the light bulb went off because there needed to be an avenue for that ganja that was going to be grown to be converted to finished products to get to the patients who needed it. And so it was through the partnerships forged at CanEx 2017, the relationships that I made there, that I was able to explore opportunities overseas to identify quality products that have been tested and that were in the market and that were working, that we could not only introduce to Jamaica, but to ensure we were signing contracts that allowed us to produce those products under license in Jamaica using Jamaican-grown ganja. And so that's where that journey started. And so for me, it's just the right thing to do, to be title sponsor of CanEx this year, because that's where the seed was planted. That's where the journey began. So today is only natural, and I'm very, very excited. But, you know, one thing we have to make sure, and as Jamaicans, we don't do it a lot. You know, there's a saying that when someone opens the door for you and you walk through, it's important that you leave that door open for someone else to come through it as well. So CanEx Jamaica opened the door for Zimmer and Company to walk through. Today we have products in the market. We're in over 50 pharmacies. Prescriptions are being written by doctors. We've got sublingual drops, we've got tablets, 100 milligram CBD tablets, we've got topicals, we've got a cosmetic line, we've got vapes, and we're very excited when we get feedback from the patients, how effective these medications are to them. And so as CanEx Jamaica opened the door for Zimmer and Company to operate in Jamaica and to now be in other countries as well, it is important that we also leave that door open to allow others to walk through. And that's why I'm so excited to announce this evening that we are ensuring through CanEx that 200 ganja farmers are able to attend CanEx Jamaica Expo this year without paying. So Zimmer and Company will pay for 50 farmers from each of 4 associations, namely the Ganja Growers and Producers Association, Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers Association, the Hanover Growers Association, and the St. Anne Botanical Association. Each will get 50 passes for CanEx Jamaica so the farmers can get the opportunities that Zimmer and Company got. They'll be able to see world-class products, they'll be able to see world-class production facilities, they'll be able to see nutrients that the plant needs, and they'll be exposed to potential investors. And that's exactly what we want to create, because if we want to create a great and dynamic industry in Jamaica, it can't be just a small subset of Jamaicans who are benefiting. We have to spread the love. I see it as a big pie, a great value chain, and everyone has their part of it that they own, that they're responsible for, and together we can create a dynamic, amazing, profitable association and industry here in Jamaica. And so we're very excited that we're able to gift the farmers with this, and we look forward to seeing them at CanEx and to seeing them benefit greatly from what CanEx has to offer this year. Thank you very much.
I would like to run through what you can expect at CanEx this year. We have, which I'm very excited about, one of the hot topics in the industry is banking. You know, we've gone through the licensing regime and the challenges with that. I see my friend here, Greg Douglas from the CLA, and I don't know if he misses those days, but you know, when people ask me the state of the industry in Jamaica, I make the analogy of the Chinese bamboo. I think there's a lot of activity happening right below the surface. And when it pops, it's going to go very, very quickly. Banking is the hot button. And we're very proud to announce our collaboration with the Canadian High Commission to put together a banking and finance roundtable. I think it's going to, well, not think, I know, we're going to bring in folks from the US, from Canada, from throughout the Caribbean, who specialize in banking and finance, right here in Jamaica as well. And it's going to be a private group, a roundtable, like I say, but about 20 to 25 experts with a view toward coming up with practical solutions that can be implemented, and we get this industry popping along. So that's one area that we're very pleased to work with, and we thank the Canadian High Commission for agreeing to work with us in that way. We're also very proud to announce that we have for the second year the Peter Tosh Pioneer Award, which will be given to an individual who has provided human service to the industry. And that's something we're going to do with the estate of Peter Tosh every year. Last year we gave it to him posthumously, but we're going to do that every year to reward, or recognize, I should say, someone who's given that level of service. Because as we move forward, it's very important that we also recognize the people that have paved the way in the past when this was not legal, when this was not popular, when this was not, you know, buckets of capital pursuing it, but just folks who had a passion and a dream and a real persistence. And that's what we want to make sure is recognized year over year. As we go through the days, this year CanEx has gone from a one-day conference to 2 days. So it's on Thursday and Friday. And we have about 5 different tracks, which go from everything from cultivation to women in cannabis to finance. You know, we really span a broad spectrum of the different touch points in industry, so you can come away from it with a very broad understanding of where the different opportunities lay. We also have a number of and I guess, you know, this is what's exciting. You have folks who 2 years ago were talking about their challenges and their frustrations, and now they have open dispensaries. And now they're looking to host parties on different nights, and we're working through some of those permutations with them. So as I say, I equate it to that little Chinese bamboo analogy, because it's happening. Yes, we only have our 3rd dispensary open here in Jamaica, but by this time next year, we might have 20 open, 30 open. So I think for those people who are in the process, it can get a little bit challenging at times, it can get draining at times, but I encourage you to endure, because what we're seeing on an organizational perspective as we look at the entire industry is we are seeing progress, we are seeing movement. And as we build out the event, doors that we had to sort of bang on and scrape on for sponsorship, for partnership, for just to attend, are now folks who are saying, we have 10 people coming, we need, this sort of facilitation for our group that's coming in from whichever country or right here in the marketplace. So things are happening, ladies and gentlemen, not as fast as we all want, but 2 years ago, I was there. I remember saying about the ship had left, or the ship was about to depart. And now I feel like we can really, the ship is definitely moving faster than we're moving. So we can't sort of get, complacent. But certainly, there's a real good opportunity for Jamaica. There's some niches that we have to sort of lock into, but ultimately, I think this is, really goes back to a rising tide lifts all boats. And if we can adapt that as a mindset, and we can support one another, I think that you'll see great progress in Jamaica. I'm personally very proud about the move by Zimmer to facilitate the participation of so many farmers, because at the heart and soul of it, those are the folks that kept the industry alive. Those are the folks who, that's why Jamaica is so closely aligned with this industry. Yes, it's not on the medicinal side that we all talk about, but those are the folks who have put in the time, they have the passion, they understand the plant. For folks like myself, it's a great revelation, and it's something that I can now say, why aren't we doing more medicines with this? Why aren't we making this more widely available to people to cure some of these ailments? But these are folks who've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years before it was trendy or even legal. And now the ability to have them come and understand and learn and be exposed, I think is very satisfying for me. So I look forward to the outcomes of that, and I really hope there's some more success stories that come out of it. We also have a farm tour set up that's going to take place. So again, that's another milestone event as we move forward. We didn't have farms in a sort of state that people could go see them last year. So now we have that, so that's very exciting. And overall, I think the other thing that we're very keen on is we're going to put together an investment panel. So I went up to Lift & Co's Expo in May, and I had the opportunity to speak to investors with a particular project, and we want to reciprocate and have that same opportunity right here in Jamaica. So we're tightening up and finishing it up, but ultimately it's going to give the entrepreneurs here the opportunity to meet with some of the big capital that's coming in, and some of the capital actually domiciled here in Jamaica to take this industry forward. This industry has so much potential for Jamaica, from a social benefit perspective to an economic opportunity perspective. And I believe strongly that what our event intends to do is to provide a platform to bring the different pieces together and exchange information, networking, etc. But more than that, it has to be something that the population opens up to and really starts to understand the opportunity, because we have to mobilize and we have to push the policymakers, the legislators, the leaders of the government, the economy, to make this a reality in as short order as possible. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you to Shore. I thank our partners, Richard and the Canadian High Commission, for your support. And we look forward to seeing you in Montego Bay, the capital of tourism in Jamaica, in a couple of short weeks. Thank you very much.